Everett Holloway's journey to the top was a reflection of his relentless drive and sharp intellect. Born to middle-class parents, Everett always had a natural knack for numbers and a strong desire to excel. After finishing his finance degree at the University of Minnesota, he wasted no time making a mark at Pinnacle Investments, one of Minneapolis's top financial firms. By the time he was 35, Everett had achieved a remarkable feat. He became the youngest partner in the firm's history. His reputation grew for his savvy investment decisions and his skill in closing even the toughest deals. From his corner office on the 40th floor of Pinnacle Tower, Everett could gaze out over the city he had come to dominate, a daily reminder of his impressive achievements. Colleagues viewed Everett as brilliant but ruthless. He was known for his unyielding pursuit of success, with little regard for the consequences. On the other hand, Alana Holloway had once dreamed of a life as vibrant as the canvases she adored. As the daughter of a well-known art professor at the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, Alana had shown early talent in art. Her abstract paintings, known for their bold strokes and expressive colors, had gained attention in local galleries during her college years. However, the practical demands of adult life began to overshadow her artistic dreams. After marrying Everett at 24, Alana was swept into the world of corporate wives, charity galas, and country club memberships. Her once paint-stained jeans and eclectic studio apartment were replaced by designer dresses and a showcase home in Maple Grove. Though she still painted occasionally, her art now decorated their home rather than being displayed in galleries, a constant reminder of her unfulfilled aspirations. To outsiders, the Holloways epitomized success. Their annual Christmas parties were the highlight of the neighborhood. Everett and Alana moved seamlessly through social circles, Everett with his sharp wit and Alana with her warm smile and effortless charm. They were prominent figures at charity events, always ready with a generous donation and a memorable quote for the local press. Yet, behind closed doors, their relationship was showing signs of strain. Everett's long hours at the office and frequent business trips left Alana feeling lonely and unsatisfied. She longed for the passion and creativity she once had, feelings that seemed increasingly distant amidst the endless social events and pressure to maintain their perfect image. Everett, on the other hand, grew frustrated with what he saw as Alana's lack of ambition. He couldn't understand why she wasn't satisfied with the life he had provided and why she still clung to her painting hobby when she could be networking with other corporate wives or engaging in more prestigious charitable causes. Dominic Reeves had always lived in two different worlds. Growing up in a working-class family in North Minneapolis, he learned the value of hard work from an early age by helping his father with plumbing jobs on weekends and during summer breaks. Dominic's natural skill in the trade, combined with his father's guidance, made him one of the most sought-after plumbers in the Twin Cities by his late 20s. However, Dominic had another talent that seemed out of place with his gritty profession. With his chiseled features, piercing green eyes, and a physique shaped by years of physical labor, Dominic looked like he belonged on a fashion magazine cover. A comment from a satisfied customer, the wife of a local talent agent, encouraged Dominic to explore this other side of himself. Soon, Dominic found himself living a double life. During the day, he wore work boots and carried a toolbox, skillfully handling plumbing issues. At night and on weekends, he donned designer clothes and posed for cameras, his image appearing on local billboards and magazine ads. It was on a sweltering Tuesday in June that Dominic first met Alana Holloway. A routine call about a leaky faucet brought him to her house. When Alana opened the door, Dominic was struck by her natural beauty. As Dominic worked on the faucet, they started an easy conversation. Alana, craving intellectual stimulation, was pleasantly surprised by Dominic's knowledge of art. He spoke with enthusiasm about a recent exhibit he had seen at the Walker Art Center, his eyes lighting up as he described the play of light and shadow in the paintings. For the first time in years, Alana felt truly understood and appreciated. As Dominic packed up his tools, their eyes met, and a spark of connection passed between them. Neither of them realized that this chance encounter would set off a chain of events that would drastically change their lives. In the weeks following their initial meeting, Alana found herself inventing reasons to call Dominic back to the house. Whether it was a stubborn clog in the guest bathroom, a strange noise in the pipes, or a sudden need to update the powder room. Each issue, no matter how minor, became an excuse to see Dominic again. Dominic, in turn, was eager to oblige. He looked forward to these service calls more than any modeling gig or high-paying plumbing job. Their conversations during these visits grew longer and more personal. Alana shared her abandoned dreams of becoming an artist, while Dominic spoke about his struggles balancing his two careers and finding his place in the world. One afternoon, as Dominic was finishing up some work on the main floor bathroom, Alana invited him to see her art studio, a sunroom converted for her hobby, a space Everett had reluctantly allowed her to use. Surrounded by her canvases, some finished and others in progress, Dominic was moved by the raw emotion in her brushstrokes. Without thinking, he reached out and took her hand, praising her talent and urging her not to give up on her dreams. The touch of his hand sent a thrill through Alana. Before they fully realized what was happening, they were in each other's arms, their pent-up longing and desire flowing out in a passionate kiss. From that moment on, Alana and Dominic's relationship turned into a full-blown affair. They seized every chance to be together, their encounters a mix of intense physical passion and deep emotional connection. Dominic would come under the pretense of doing routine maintenance, and Alana would lead him to her studio, where they would lose themselves in each other's embrace. As the weeks turned into months, their relationship grew stronger. Dominic encouraged Alana to paint again with renewed passion, and she rediscovered her love for art. Yet, their happiness was always tainted by the knowledge that what they were doing was wrong. Alana felt guilty about betraying Everett, even as she admitted that their marriage had been emotionally over for years. Dominic struggled with his role as the other man, feeling like he could never truly fit into Alana's world. Their affair was a dangerous game of close calls and near misses. There was the time Everett came home early from work, forcing Dominic to hide in a closet for over an hour. Another time, they had to quickly rearrange Alana's studio when a neighbor unexpectedly dropped by. Each close call added to the thrill of their forbidden romance but also highlighted the fragile nature of their situation. As summer began to wane, both Alana and Dominic knew that their current situation couldn't last forever. Something had to give. Alana had started to tentatively discuss the idea of leaving Everett, while Dominic dreamed of a future where they could be together openly. Neither of them could have anticipated the tragic turn their story was about to take or the devastating consequences that awaited them. On July 15, 2023, the day began bright and uncomfortably hot, the kind of summer day where the air shimmered with heat and the pavement seemed ready to fry an egg. Everett Holloway was in New York, set to finalize a major deal that would cement his position as Pinnacle Investments' top performer. Believing she had the house to herself for the next 2 days, Alana invited Dominic over under the guise of checking the air conditioning system. As Dominic's weathered work truck pulled into the Holloway driveway at 10 a.m., Alana felt a familiar flutter of excitement. She had taken extra care with her appearance that morning, wearing a flowing sundress that Dominic had once admired and dabbing on the perfume he loved. When she opened the door, Dominic's appreciative gaze made her feel more alive than she had in years. They barely made it to the studio before falling into each other's arms, their kisses urgent and intense as clothes were shed and hands explored familiar territory. Neither of them heard the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Everett Holloway was furious. The New York deal had fallen through at the last minute due to an unexpected move by a competitor. Facing the prospect of returning to Minneapolis empty-handed and possibly losing his chance at a promotion, Everett decided to fly home immediately. His mind raced with ways to salvage the situation. As he turned onto his street, his anger simmered, needing only the slightest trigger to explode. The sight of the plumber's truck in his driveway was that trigger. Everett had always disliked the idea of strangers in his house while he was away and had specifically told Alana to postpone any repairs until his return. Slamming his car door, he stormed toward the house, ready to confront both his wife and the audacious tradesman. The scene Everett walked in on would be forever etched in his memory. His wife, her sundress hiked up around her waist, was straddling a shirtless man on the chaise lounge they had bought in Paris for their 5th anniversary. For a moment, time seemed to freeze as the three of them locked eyes in a tableau of shock, horror, and dawning realization. Alana was the first to react, scrambling off Dominic with a strangled cry of Everett's name. Everett's anger exploded like a storm. With a furious roar, he lunged at Dominic, his fists striking the younger man's face with brutal force. What followed was a chaotic blur of violence and desperation. Despite being in better physical shape, Dominic found himself at a severe disadvantage. Caught off guard and unwilling to fight back against his lover's husband, Dominic struggled helplessly. Everett, consumed by rage and humiliation, seemed to possess almost superhuman strength. He hammered Dominic relentlessly, ignoring Alana's frantic screams and pleas for him to stop. In the chaos, the two men collided with Alana's paintings. Canvases toppled, easels crashed, and art supplies scattered everywhere. A heavy marble sculpture, a wedding gift from Everett's parents, teetered precariously on its pedestal before falling onto Dominic's head with a sickening crack. The noise of the impact was deafening. The room fell into an eerie silence as Dominic lay motionless on the paint-splattered floor, blood pooling around his head like a macabre halo. Everett stood over him, his knuckles bloodied and his chest heaving as the red mist of rage slowly cleared from his vision. Alana, her sundress torn and stained, stared at the scene in mute horror. Her hands trembled as she dialed 911, her voice breaking as she tried to explain the horrific events. Meanwhile, Everett washed the blood from his hands and sat in his home office, staring blankly at the wall until the police arrived. The tranquility of Maple Grove was shattered by the wail of sirens as police cars and an ambulance raced to the scene. Neighbors emerged from their homes, gathering in small clusters to whisper and speculate as they watched the grim procession of emergency vehicles. By nightfall, the Holloway residence was buzzing with activity. Crime scene technicians combed through the studio, cataloging evidence and taking photographs. Detectives interviewed Everett and Alana separately, their faces stone-cold and distressed. Dominic Reeves's body, covered by a sheet, lay in the center of the chaos, waiting to be transported to the medical examiner's office. The days following the incident were a whirlwind of police activity and neighborhood gossip. Detective Alana Ortiz, a veteran of the homicide unit, was assigned as the lead investigator on the case. Known for her meticulous attention to detail and unwavering dedication to uncovering the truth, Ortiz approached the Holloway case with determination. As she pieced together the timeline of that fateful day, Ortiz faced a complex web of conflicting statements and circumstantial evidence. Alana's 911 call at 11:23 am was brief and hysterical, with her barely able to articulate what had happened. Just 2 minutes later, Everett called 911 with an eerily calm report of an accident at his home. Neighbor testimonies painted a picture of an ordinary summer morning abruptly disrupted. Beat Rick Lanquist, a 78-year-old retiree living across the street, reported seeing Dominic's truck arrive around 10 a.m., noting that it wasn't unusual since Dominic had been a frequent visitor in recent months. Beat Rick also witnessed Everett's unexpected return, commenting on his aggressive driving as he pulled into the driveway. Another neighbor, mowing his lawn at the time, heard what he described as a commotion coming from the Holloway residence. Though he couldn't make out specific words, he recalled hearing angry shouts and a woman's screams. Terrified, he retreated into his house and debated calling the police before the sirens announced their arrival. The crime scene itself was a study in chaos. The once pristine studio was now a jumble of overturned furniture, shattered art pieces, and splattered paint. Blood spatter analysis indicated a violent struggle, with Dominic's blood found not only around his body but also on several surfaces throughout the room. The marble sculpture, its base stained red, was later confirmed by the medical examiner to be the weapon that delivered the fatal blow. Alana, still in shock, provided a fragmented account of the events. She admitted to her affair with Dominic but insisted that Everett's attack was unprovoked and that she had begged him to stop. Her torn dress and bruised arms seemed to support the claim of a struggle, though it was unclear whether these injuries resulted from Everett's attack or her attempts to intervene. Everett, on the other hand, maintained that he acted in self-defense. In his statement, he claimed to have found Dominic attacking Alana and intervened to protect his wife. He expressed remorse for Dominic's death but insisted he had only been trying to subdue the younger man. However, the lack of defensive wounds on Everett and the severity of Dominic's injuries cast doubt on this version of events. The autopsy report, delivered 3 days after the incident, provided grim details of Dominic's final moments. In addition to the fatal wound, his body showed evidence of multiple blunt force traumas consistent with a severe beating. The report also noted defensive wounds on Dominic's arms and hands, suggesting he had tried to protect himself during the assault. Detective Ortiz dug deeper and uncovered a trail of text messages and emails between Alana and Dominic, documenting their relationship's evolution from innocent flirtation to a full-blown affair. Financial records showed a series of cash withdrawals from Alana's personal account that coincided with Dominic's visits, hinting at possible payments for services beyond plumbing. Each new piece of evidence strengthened the case against Everett. Yet, Ortiz couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story than a simple crime of passion. As she prepared to present her findings to the district attorney, she knew the case would be far from straightforward and that the truth might be more complex and disturbing than anyone in Maple Grove could have imagined. Everett was charged with second-degree murder, a decision that sparked debate among legal experts. Some argued that the charge should have been first-degree murder given the brutal nature of the attack, while others contended that the circumstances warranted a lesser charge of manslaughter. District Attorney Clarissa Angwin defended the decision, stating that the charge reflected both the severity of the crime and the heat-of-the-moment nature of the confrontation. Everett's defense team, led by attorney Jerome Hoffman, crafted a narrative of a loving husband driven to temporary insanity by the shock of his wife's betrayal. They planned to argue that Everett had acted in the heat of passion, aiming to reduce the charges to manslaughter. Alana found herself in an impossible position as the only witness to the crime. Her testimony would be crucial, but the prosecution pressed her to testify against Everett while his defense team suggested that her future financial security might depend on supporting her husband's version of events. During this process, a series of unexpected revelations came to light, adding layers of complexity to the already intricate case. The first bombshell came when an anonymous tip led Detective Ortiz to investigate Dominic Reeves's past. What she uncovered was far from the simple story of a working-class plumber moonlighting as a model. Dominic had a sealed juvenile record, which Ortiz accessed with the judge's permission. The files revealed that as a teenager, Dominic had been involved in a sophisticated identity theft ring. He had avoided serious charges by turning state's witness against the ringleaders, exposing a cunning and potentially manipulative side to him. Further investigation into Dominic's adult life revealed a pattern of relationships with wealthy married women across the Twin Cities. Bank records showed regular cash deposits far exceeding what he could have earned from plumbing and modeling work. The defense team seized upon this information, constructing a narrative of Dominic as a calculated con man who had targeted Alana as his next mark. Even more shocking was the connection to Dominic Reeves. One of the shell companies used in the embezzlement scheme was registered to an address that had once been Dominic's residence. This unexpected link between the victim and the financial crimes of the accused threw both the prosecution and defense into turmoil, raising questions about whether Dominic's presence in the Holloway home had been more than just a romantic entanglement. As news of these discoveries leaked to the press, the public narrative around the case shifted dramatically. The story of a simple love triangle gone wrong evolved into a complex tale of financial misdeeds, possible blackmail, and long-held secrets. Speculation ran rampant. Had Dominic discovered Everett's embezzlement and used it to blackmail him? Was Alana somehow involved in the financial scheme? Had Everett's unexpected return home interrupted more than just an affair? Amidst this whirlwind of new information, Alana Holloway found herself under increased scrutiny. Her initial portrayal as either a victim or a cheating wife was replaced by questions about her potential complicity in her husband's financial crimes. Investigators revisited her background, paying particular attention to her abandoned art career and the timing of her marriage to Everett. An old college friend of Alana, now an art dealer in Chicago, provided another piece of the puzzle. She came forward with information about a promising young artist named Alana Prescott who had abruptly disappeared from the art scene a decade ago, right around the time Alana had married Everett. The dealer produced a catalog from a student exhibition featuring Alana's work, abstract paintings that resembled several pieces found in Everett's office at Pinnacle Investments. This led to a startling theory: had Alana's art been used as a vehicle for money laundering? The large sums paid for her paintings could have provided a perfect cover for cleaning embezzled funds. If true, it would mean that Alana's abandonment of her art career might not have been about sacrificing her dreams for marriage but a calculated move to protect a criminal enterprise. As these revelations came to light, both the prosecution and defense had to drastically revise their strategies. What had once seemed like a straightforward case of passion and violence had transformed into a complex web of deceit, financial crime, and potential conspiracy. In the end, the trial promised to be as dramatic and convoluted as the case itself, leaving the residents of Maple Grove and those following the case from afar on edge, awaiting the truth.